Hello, Grots and Gits. Welcome back to Happy Cruppid Wargaming. Today, I have some sick combinations for you. These are combos that are going to apply to a multitude of different armies that I'm really excited to teach you so that you can start implementing them in your gameplay. And just a quick shout out because all of these combinations we have been discussing inside the Discord for quite a while now, and we have been using it to good use in tournaments, and we've been taking people by surprise. So if you want access to those, then you should join the members section. That is the paid section. There's a free section to this Discord where we love people discussing, but we keep most of the good stuff under the members side. So we would love to have you join us there if you want to be involved in high level engaging chat every single day where we discuss all the really unique, cool combinations in the game. And honestly, we have a lot of really good camaraderie as well. So we would love to see you there. Let's get into the sick combos video number 3. There are super awesome ways to play this game. Today, I've chosen 3 great combinations that's going to absolutely turbocharge your play with some very specific factions. Another thing that you need to know about these isn't just so that you can implement them, but when you know how these strategies work, you can protect yourself from them because, trust me, these will screw you on the table if you're not prepared for them. Remember, guys, just because something isn't meta and you don't see it in the meta list doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's useless. Actually, there's some really great things out there that are not meta. Trust me, I've got not just this video, but we got some stuff coming up that is not meta and is smashing people. So and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach the combinations and I'm going to use the TTS view to show you how to actually use it on the table. So if you are just listening, you're not watching it, listen to it now, but make sure you go back to watch it so I can show you how to set these things up as well. All right, so combo number 1, we're going to talk about the unchargeable lieutenant. So it's the lieutenant with combi weapon. This guy gets a 6-inch reactive move whenever you end a move, advance, or fall back within 9 inches of him. So he's going to move 6 inches. And then, since we're going to be running this guy in Vanguard, what happens is when you declare him as a charge target, he's going to get to move at 6 inches, which is really, really powerful. It effectively makes it impossible to interact with this character. If you have the only way you're going to be able to do it is if you end within 9 and you go for the 9-inch charge. And even if you go for the 9-inch charge, you're still going to move 6 inches out, which makes it impossible to charge him, right? So you don't even have to give him his free move. He still just moves out. The only way you can really handle him, I suppose, is if you go for like the 9.1 and shoot him to death, which is totally possible. But he's also really easy to position so that you just can't really shoot him from any convenient angles. So this guy ends up being more or less untargetable, not just unchargeable. So you're in Vanguard, he gets to move 6 inches away from your enemy unit, and then when you declare him as a charge target, he gets to move up to 6. And what you can do is you can move him 11.9 inches away with that reactive move and just make it like technically possible, but basically impossible because of the way a rune is sitting or something, and then your opponent can't even declare a new charge target, which is brutal for your opponent's turns. That is very, very powerful. So he gives you a lot of utility in that detachment. He can do things like just stick your objective turn 1, and thanks to the new rules, that objective will now just forevermore be rearming its mortal wound bomb whenever you take it over, if you know about how Vanguard Marines work. So let me just go ahead and go to the TTS view here, and I'm going to show you how it actually works on the table, and then we'll get right on into the next one, because this one's really not too complicated. It's just something that I find a lot of people haven't really seen. So TTS, here we are. All right, so basically what I've done is I've set up a little scenario here. Let's say the lieutenant is holding this objective. He's got it all like, he's got it sabotaged, so there's going to be some mortal wounds. And we are playing with the Renegade Raiders. And these nice Legionnaires are going to roll a really good advance, and they're going to go for a perfect charge. So they're going to be literally 1 inch away from my lieutenant. Let's just back them so it's technically legal. And then my lieutenant gets to activate his 6-inch reactive move because that's his special ability. So he's just going to go 6 inches backwards. And then my friend, the Legionaries, are going to be like, oh, well, we don't care because, it's only a 6-inch charge and we have a CP to reroll a charge. So let's just charge him. Well, in the charge phase, when he's declared as the target of charge, you just activate your strat from the Vanguard Marines, and suddenly he goes another 6 inches and says, ta-ta, nerds, no charging me. He could also really kind of screw them because now they get to redeclare a new charge target. So what he could do is he could just make it technically possible in the most technical sense. Let's just see if we can get him super, super technically possible. Make it an 11.9 to force that super, super high roll, and then your opponent can't even declare a new target of the charge. So there's a lot of utility here. It can get you tons of scoring, and it can really mess your opponents up. And you can get messed up with it if you don't know about it. But Now you do. So we are excited to bring you this super fun information. Let's go back to the PowerPoint because I got another combination, which is, I think it's going to ruin, well, not ruin, but it's going to be a total disaster in competitive play because it's going to really be messing people up. So you have to be armed with the knowledge of how to counter it. Let's get right into it. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the Death Guard Doomsday Bomb. So Death Guard have been, honestly, I think they've always been better than people have given them credit for. But now I think they're a complete menace. I don't think they're the best army in the game, and I don't think they're breaking the game, so don't freak out. But I do think they are extremely strong, and they're going to be a gatekeeper that is just going to say several armies are not allowed to compete. I'm thinking things like Orcs or Custodes, any really form of marine-heavy list. A lot of CSM is going to be completely screwed by this, which is kind of a big deal. So here's the basic combination. It's going to be your 3 PVCs. You're going to take Mortarion, and you're going to take a unit of Cultists. You have to watch out for these Cultist moves, because if you let these Cultists do this thing, and they're only 50 points, so your opponent's going to have them, and they don't care about sacrificing the Cultist, you're going to lose the game in turn 1 every single time. Mortarion is going to give these PVCs ignore all modifiers. The PVCs are going to spend a CP to give themselves ignore cover, or you're going to use Mortarion's aura to let them ignore cover. And then they're going to scout the cultist up, and then they're going to advance the cultist so that they're going to get you within their contagion range turn 1 for that sweet, sweet -1 to, well, toughness, yes, and -1 to your armor save, because they're basically always going to choose that. It's probably, on average, the best choice. And once you're -1 to your freaking armor save, now suddenly the PVCs are AP of 1, and they ignore all modifiers, so now you're basically taking a -2 to your armor save, and you don't get cover, and it's really, really bad, and they can really just wreck things. They can wreck Satan with this, because suddenly your Satan are not having the damage. They can wreck basically any marine body in the game with this. They can wreck, I just watched them wreck Meganobs, because remember, Meganobs can't spend the CP to be -1 to wound against it. It is a brutal combination that will absolutely wreck people. So I'm going to show you how they set this up on the on the table so that you can really conceptualize how they're going to do this to you on turn 1. And once you understand how this works, you'll be able to counter it. But if you don't counter it, there's going to be a lot of games that are over turn 1. So let's just hop into it and TTS view. Here we are. All right, so basically what we've done here is we've got the Renegade Raiders, and they're going to be fighting against the Smelly Boys of the Death Guard. So as you can see, I've got these 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. And we're just going to make sure that they're all within 6 inches of Morty. Doesn't really matter how they're sitting. They just all need to be within 6 inches of Morty. We probably don't want to touch that terrain, so we'll do it like that. Then we are going to, maybe we'll move this guy up right here. Let's just say the Death Guard went first, and they're going to scout forward these cultists exactly 6 inches. Cool. We're going to move these Plague Burst Crawls to be left roughly right here, and we'll just do something like this so that Morty is going to be within 6 inches of him, and he doesn't need to expose himself, because Renegade Raiders shoot pretty hard. You don't necessarily want the Renegade Raiders to be shooting you. Okay. And then this guy can just come right here. All right, so now Morty's got a 6-inch aura, and he's making these guys ignore modifiers. Then what these guys have already scouted for 6 inches, and then what they're going to do is they're going to roll an advance roll. And they are currently 16 inches away from Mr. Abaddon. So let's say they get the 6, and they're going to go 12 inches. So now they've gone 12 inches on their advance roll with a good advance, and they're 4.2 inches away. Now you might say, oh, well, this won't actually work because your cultist need to be within 3 inches in turn 1 to activate the aura of -1, or the contagion range, right? Oh, no, au contraire, mon frère. Because you're going to choose to activate Mortarion's aura, which will say, as long as he's within 12 of a friendly Death Guard unit, extend the aura of their contagion range by 3 inches. So now it's turn 1. Instead of having a 3-inch aura, they actually have a 6-inch aura of -1 to your save. So now Abaddon is going to be -1 to his save. The Plague Burst Crawlers, strength 8, going into Abaddon's toughness 5 with a 2-up armor save. Actually, Abaddon is only going to have toughness 4 now, so suddenly the strength 8 is winning him on 2s. You see where we're going with this? Lethal hits on 6s. -2 to his armor, because -1 for the contagion range, -1 for the AP. Abaddon cannot armor contempt, and he can't benefit from cover, because you're going to spend 1 CP to ignore cover. 3 Plague Burst Crawlers will kill Abaddon. And then basically the entire Renegade Raiders player's entire game plan is completely dead in the water, and there's nothing he can do about it. Now, if you want to avoid this trap, what you have to do is you have to pre-measure where these cultists can go. So if you know that your opponent has deployed these cultists on the line right here, you know if they go first, they can move a total of 18 inches, 6 with the scout move, and then 12 with a normal move with an advance of 6. So this is how far they can get turn 1, which means they can get within 4.5 of Abaddon. You might think you're safe because you're outside of the 3-inch contagion range, but because of the ability just to string these guys out, Mortarian's aura can hit them to give them a range of 6. So if you really want to be safe, which you kind of have to, because if your Death Guard opponent pulls this combo off, you're going to lose turn 1. You really need to make sure that you're far enough back that they cannot get within 6 inches of you turn 1. So you're going to have to start here, not actually on the line. Once you start here, they cannot pull this combo on you turn 1, and you will have some counterplay. It's still going to be tough because he's probably just going to stage these cultists here, and then in his next turn, he's going to advance them and try the same trick, right? So it's not going to be easy, but you will at least not lose the game turn 1. This is an unbelievably powerful strategy that will completely wreck your opponent, the Death Guard's opponents if they're not ready for it. So definitely pay attention to this one. Remember, 6-inch aura of ignore all modifiers. You're going to spend 1 CP to ignore cover on Abaddon. You're going to activate his 12-inch aura of add to your contagion range, and then the cultist wreck. If you're a Death Guard player, you're welcome. If you're anyone else, I'm really sorry I just gave this information to other Death Guard players. So that is going to be the sit combo number 2. That is going to crush souls. Let's do our last combo now. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And this one is a little bit different. It's not quite as impactful as the Death Guard combo, but it is a really cool experimentation that'll show you just what you can do when you put your brilliance to work. So we're going to talk about the Razorbacks and Servitors in the Grey Knights. Now, I know a lot of people talk about Grey Knight or talk about the Razorbacks with like Devastators, how that's potentially a combo, but Servitors in Grey Knights can do a very similar thing. So in a unit of Servitors for 50 points, you get 2 multi-meltas, and they hit on 4s. But when they're led by a Tech Marine, suddenly they hit on 3s, because he's going to give them +1 ballistic skill and +1 weapon skill. He will also give them the ability to deep strike and use the lightning assault for the, advance and shoot thing. Then, what happens is you're going to move the Razorback, you're going to let them get out, you're going to shoot the Razorback with his twin-linked las cannon into a heavy target, and then you're going to shoot 4 shots from your multi-meltas hitting on 3s with full wound rerolls. This is going to allow Grey Knights to pop heavy targets and transports, which most people agree is the biggest struggle for Grey Knights, because suddenly you get 4 multi-meltas that hit on 3s and get to re-roll wound rolls into your heavies. This will kill a baby knight. This will, especially when you combo it with what the Razorback's twin linked las cannon and everything. This will kill a Rhino. This will kill a Predator. You're not going to kill like a Land Raider with it, but you will do significant damage to it, perhaps opening yourself up to murdering the Land Raider with, say, some Librarians, Vortexes of Doom. But this won't actually pick a Land Raider up, but it will pick up your light to medium tanks, which is a really big deal for Grey Knights. Then don't forget, now, suddenly in your opponent's turn, if they move, you can just win 1 CP on Mr. Damos to either pick them up or to move them back into the Razorback so you can try this combo again. It just really depends on how your opponents move, because Mr. Damos can also allow you to do a reactive move. So this is a very, very interesting combination. Now, it is a little pricey because it's 50 points for the Servitors, 70 for the Tech Marine, and 85 for the Razorback. So that's 205 points. I think it's worth it for what it gives Grey Knights. It gives them a different option to actually pop things in shooting and not just have to throw more Terminators at it. But I can understand the complaint that it might be a little expensive. So you have another option. You could just take the Tech Marine and the Servitors, which for 120 points, and then it's a 3-inch deep strike for when you spend 1 CP, and you get a 3-inch deep strike, and then suddenly these guys can just shoot 4 multi-meltas in melter range, any target in the game, which is also quite useful if I do say so myself. So there's lots of different things that you can do. So my Discord came up with this a while ago, and we have put this to use in a couple different matches. We saw it in a few tournaments, and it works. This is something that you can do when you're not so stuck in the meta thought process. When I'm constructing lists or I'm preparing for tournaments, I pay attention to what all the meta lists are, but I don't think that I have to play the meta list. If you looked at my major winning Sons of Sanguinius list, it was not meta. If you look at a lot of the other lists that I've taken, or like say my my admin Shetil has taken to really good success, they're not necessarily meta list, but they can crush meta list because we're thinking off the wall. We're creating things that, while might not be considered meta, dang, man, it's got real power and it's got real use cases. That doesn't mean that everything that's off meta is good. Trust me, I've seen a lot of things on Reddit that people think is good that are not freaking good. But there are some really good use cases for using your own creativity to come up with new strategies. Anyway, guys, these are 3 sit combos from my sit combos video number 3. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you to give it a whirl. Oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't go to TTS view. Let me show you on TTS view how this works real fast. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself there. All right, so here we are. I've got a Rhino right here. I got a Razorback right here. Razorback moves up 12. It's pretty dang simple. Poof. Servitors get out with the Tech Marines within 3 inches. You don't even have to get them on the objective because that would just give your opponent like perhaps like an overwhelming force, which you don't need an overwhelming force. They get to shoot the Rhino, pop it, poof. And then any other Grey Knight unit, oh, so you put some like Purgator squads here or your Paladins here as well, can then wipe the infantry that came out of it. So lots of really good things you can do this combo. All right, guys, this is it for the video. I hope you appreciate it and enjoyed these sit combos. I'm going to keep bringing things like this to you. Make sure to hop in the Discord and you can start interacting with the community and you can actually get all this information much sooner. Big shout out to all the supporters because you guys are rock stars and I love and I greatly appreciate all of you. If you're looking for coaching, you can check out my coffee link in the description down below and I'm excited to help you reach your individual goals. Until next time, crump on. Bye-bye.